So what is plasmatherapy? It's a broad term that includes plasma infusions and plasmapheresis. You will see terms for plasmapheresis like plasma exchange and apheresis. They are to some extent interchangeable, although when we use the term plasma exchange, we mean plasma is being taken out and plasma is being replaced. We can do plasmapheresis without actually replacing plasma, and that is technically not plasma exchange, just plasmapheresis. So plasmatherapy is or was the first-line therapy until just last year, and that was based on expert opinion rather than substantial data. So it wasn't driven by data, but it appeared in many of our experiences anecdotally to have a substantial impact on atypical HUS. And there are many in this audience who had countless hours getting plasma in one form or the other and have faced some of the challenges of plasma therapy. And in plasma infusions, we give fresh frozen plasma, which contains clotting factors. So it's actually used in many other diseases too, where there are clotting factor deficiencies and risk of bleeding. And it also contains complement regulatory proteins, that entire cascade and all those proteins that are mutated in atypical HUS. Many of them are circulating in plasma, and normal plasma contains that. And plasmapheresis is removal of patient's plasma, and as I said, you can either replace it with fresh frozen plasma, or you can replace with another fluid, like albumin. In atypical HUS, we always want to replace with fresh frozen plasma, and that's what FFP is. So this can be used both for acute therapy and for maintenance. So acute therapy is to get you over the disease, and once you're over the disease, we call that in remission, and we try and maintain remission with one drug or another. And if not, or even if you do, there is a risk the disease comes back, and we call that a relapse. And in plasma infusion, the goal is to replace the missing complement factor. In plasmapheresis, we have several possible reasons to do it. One is to make space for that plasma infusion. It's a large volume of fluid that is administered, and patients who have certain complications of atypical HUS, such as renal failure or heart failure, are not able to necessarily tolerate all of that volume. And so plasmapheresis allows us to make space, take out the plasma that you have and give you back some fresh plasma. The other is to specifically remove what's in the plasma that might be causing atypical HUS. So Richard talked about deficiencies in proteins that lead to atypical HUS, and he also talked about, and Carla did too, about situations where there are autoantibodies, antibodies that we make against ourselves that can destroy the complement regulatory proteins and cause atypical HUS. So plasmapheresis allows you to remove that inhibitory protein like factor H antibody. It allows us to remove other proteins that might be mutated and that, if you will, are not inactive but interfere with the function of normal proteins. So that also can be removed with plasmapheresis. And finally, just like plasma infusion, since you're replacing what you remove with plasma, you're actually replacing the complement factor.